Congressman, great to have you back on the show. You were maybe the only high-profile Democrat that I can think of that very quickly pushed back on Netflix's presentation of Cuties, which many have said is about as close to child pornography as one can get. What offended you about what it portrayed?
It was the sexualization and dehumanizing of our kids. You know, this film will only further fuel the flames that of the problems that we're dealing with regards to child pornography, with regards to child prostitution and sex trafficking. You know, 1 in every 4 people who are victims of trafficking are kids, and this has been a major issue that I've focused on here in Congress to try to pass legislation to solve some of these problems that are causing such great suffering and trauma for our kids and their families. And this is what angered me so much about Netflix choosing to feature this film because it will only worsen the situation.
You tweeted about a very personal issue that one of your friends has a 13-year-old daughter who was a victim of child trafficking. So that must have impacted the passion that you have for this.
It certainly has. You know, what I've found over the years that I've been working on this issue is oftentimes people, especially people who are in influential positions, will kind of brush this issue off as though it's someone else's problem or it's happening somewhere else, when in fact, unfortunately, this is a prevalent issue all across our country. And that was what I experienced in Hawaii, where my friend, I've deployed with her to the Middle East. She's a soldier. And the trauma that she and her daughter and their family went through, where her daughter went missing for several months. And she didn't know where to begin to look to start finding her. And she dedicated her entire being into finding her 13-year-old daughter. You know, going out and doing surveillance herself, following up on leads, really dedicating herself to finding her child. And when she found her, she had been a victim who was being abused by a sex trafficker. And, you know, I spent some time with her and her daughter after she was rescued. And, you know, you could tell that this young girl was no longer just a young, innocent girl. And the trauma that she had experienced was something that would stick with her for the rest of her life. And this is unfortunately not a rare case. And it's something that everyone, regardless of your political party or your religion or where you live in the country, this is something that should anger all of us. We should all take a stand to address this crisis that's happening in our society.
Netflix has pushed back. They've been very defensive of this, but I found it interesting. You were the first Democrat that I know that spoke out very boldly, but others have now joined, including, and I think most interestingly, Nancy Pelosi's daughter, who herself is a filmmaker. And she now has said that Netflix needs to pull this, apologize, and basically do some penance for this. So this is gaining some traction, bipartisan, which is always good when it's not something that people say, oh, that's just a very partisan political push by one group or another. Do you think this will end up getting the attention of Netflix to the point that they say, maybe this isn't a great idea to put this on?
I sure hope so. You know, I think the more people who are canceling their Netflix subscriptions, the more of an impact that message to them will have. But really, to Netflix, I would challenge them that if they actually care about this issue of our children being sexualized, leading to all of these different kinds of abuses, then I challenge them to work with me and with others who really do care about this issue. Use this incredible reach and platform that Netflix has to start this conversation, do a real expose about what's happening in our society and the roles that Hollywood and the Madison Avenue advertisers have to do with it, how they're contributing to this, which is not only a dehumanization of our children, but it's something that's dehumanizing all of us. But to me, that's clear that this film does not accomplish what Netflix says it's trying to do, to start a social commentary. It's really just an excuse they're making. And the evidence of this is this film won an award at the Sundance Film Festival. And the reason why it won an award, and you can go on their website and look at the description on Sundance of this film. The reason why it got its award is because it's so cutting edge. There's no mention of it raising a serious commentary on the sexualization of our kids and how troubling that is and how we need to confront that. In fact, it says, and I'd like to just brief quotely, Sundance gave this film on an award talking about it. It's, quote, immensely watchable, vivacious young cast. I was shocked when I read this. Again, this is still up on their website. So I went to the dictionary to look up this word vivacious that they were using to describe these 11-year-old girls. The Oxford Dictionary defines vivacious as, especially of a woman, attractively lively and animated. It's sickening and disgusting that this film, which sexualizes, normalizes the sexual exploitation of our kids, that Netflix still, at least to this point, is defending and promoting it on its platform.
Tulsi, we have dramatic political differences, but I've told you before, I have great respect for you. You're a straight shooter. You're a person who has convictions. You're unapologetic and unafraid to speak them. And I have appreciated that. I've appreciated your courage in coming on and talking to somebody like me and having this conversation.
You're a nice guy, Mike.
Well, thank you. I try. And I always want to be respectful of the people who come on the show. I have to tell you on a personal level, I was very disappointed. Frankly, I thought it was wrong that the Democratic National Committee did not put you on their platform. Now, I've been a presidential candidate a couple of times myself. Obviously, it didn't work out real well, so I'm doing a talk show. But the point is, I've gone through that grinder. You came in third in the sense that the only person between you and Joe Biden was Bernie Sanders. You were the last to Bernie Sanders to be on that stage. It would seem that you had earned your place. And it may be a sensitive topic, and I'm not asking you to diss on the party, but why didn't they ask you to deliver a speech during the DNC?
That's a question only they can answer. My focus has always and continues to be on the people of our country, on the strength and integrity of our democracy. And I think there are serious problems within our political system when voters are unable to get the kind of information about every candidate running for president that they deserve to make that best informed decision. Our democracy is built on people's faith that it will work for them, that their voices will be heard. And there's a lot of work to do in that direction to uphold that integrity.
Well, your voice is an important one for their party. I hope they come to recognize that. Again, this is not about ideologies and politics. It's about that they need to broaden their own base and hear voices like yours that are sincere and authentic, and I hope they will learn to do that. Before I let you go, a lot of people may not remember that you are also still in the military. You work with the Army Reserve. You've just finished a deployment with the Army Reserve in Alaska. How'd that go?
Yeah. It was a really wonderful experience. We were given a project to go in and work with a community in a very, very rural, remote part of Alaska to try to help build a plan to improve their critical infrastructure needs. Their communications are very limited. This community is called Unalaska. It's a small island in the Aleutians. And working with those local community leaders, the indigenous Native Alaskans, working with the state and federal leaders, to do so was incredibly inspiring at their tenacity. When people say Alaska is the last frontier, I didn't realize it until I was there, really standing in the last frontier. It's a beautiful state with really wonderful and amazing, hard-charging people.
And just a little different than the climate that you're used to in your home state of Hawaii. I can certainly understand that. Tulsi, it is great having you. If you're ever going to be in the Nashville area, please come and join us in studio. You're always welcome. We truly enjoy having you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Aloha.
Our thanks to Tulsi Gabbard for joining us. Now Keith Bilbrey is going to tell you how you can keep up with Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard.